Get your mojo working.
Get your mojo working. Yeah, I can't tell if I just need like 5 times as much coffee or time turner or something. Been doing too many projects at night. Night projects.
That's not a bad name for a little duo. Night projects.
Night projects. Welcome to the first session of Night Project. Today we're gonna sing Landslide. No, we're gonna sing Dolly Parton's Love is Like a Butterfly. Love is like a butterfly.
That could be the whole thing. It's just Dolly Parton covers. You and me, quiet.
Just as quiet as
synth.
That's what Dolly did wrong.
Synth.
Too loud.
Quiet. 2 dudes with a synth.
And like a beat.
Nothing but Dolly.
It's like we're correcting everything Dolly did wrong, but also that Sylvanesso did wrong. You know, like we've got the buttons, but we're being quiet about it. Love is like a butterfly. Unrecognized musical tune is. No one's ever recognized Dolly Parton for her contributions to music.
It's just you and me, bud. Okay. Undo it.
Welcome to the Benedictine Thought and Action podcast. We are beginners in the Benedictine way, so we have to listen to the voice of wisdom. Otherwise, we're sunk. Join John and Jason as they learn to become more aware of God through living hospitably in community. Hey dudes! Today's conversation is about Mount Marty University's 3rd core value, hospitality. The fellows are going to talk about the challenge of following Benedict's advice to treat every guest the way you'd treat Jesus. Even though I'm just an AI voice that is completely unable to understand what the guys are talking about, I still think this episode is really good. I think John and Jason are helping me become a real boy.
Welcome, thought and actioners.
Thinker actors. Think actors.
It really just flows right off the tongue. Thinker actors. Welcome to the Benedictine Thought and Action podcast. I'm John Badley.
And I'm Willoughby Southers, filling in for Jason Heron, who is in Pennsylvania covering the election. Just kidding. It's just me. Whatever.
Yeah. We need better names. There's everything I've learned from NPR is you've got to have a truly unique and devastatingly epic, unique name.
I was flying to Maine this weekend and thinking of saying that on this episode. And I've got to use Willoughby. I mean, I came up with some bangers and I forgot them all. I didn't write them down.
Yeah, well.
Willoughby Southers is not bad. It's not the best one I came up with.
That's true. Dakar.
So we are in our 3rd. We are marching. Yes, we are marching onward, upward.
Through our core values.
Yeah, we're on the 3rd. Hospitality. We did awareness of God. We did community, and now we're on hospitality.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this on the way over that I wanted to propose.
All of a sudden I get popular as soon as we're on the podcast.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, no, I didn't. It's the emergency system testing. Oh, so, yep, still alone.
Yep. So, okay. In the rule, Benedict says, treat every guest as Christ. This is a lovely sentence. It's a gorgeous sentiment. Treat every guest as Christ. And this, I think, is the foundation of all of the Benedictine talk and all of the Benedictine practice of hospitality. Treat every guest as though you are welcoming our Lord and Savior.
Yeah. A truly unattainable goal.
Yeah, well, and so I was thinking about that, and I thought about this story that I heard a while back of a woman who was at a retreat. I don't know who this person was, and I don't know where the retreat was. And the retreat master was talking about people in our lives who are Christ to us. Christ's presence is manifest through the people in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
This is vintage Christian idea, right?
Yep.
Christ is present in and through all things. Plays in 10,000 places.
Mm-hmm.
And the retreat master asked all the participants to take some time to journal and meditate on that. And then they were going to come back together and share what they felt. And they're going around, talking about all these things. And they get to this woman and she says, I couldn't think of anybody. Because I couldn't think of anyone in my life who knew me so well that I wanted to kill him. And that story has always stuck with me. And so when I think of receive every guest as Christ, I love that. It sounds wonderful.
Mm. Oh.
And then I think about the actual hospitality that Christ received.
Yeah.
And I think about that woman's sentence. I've never met anyone in my life who knew me so well, spoke so deeply and truly to who I am,
Mm-hmm.
that I thought, I have to kill this man. So I wanted to start there instead of saying, like, we really need to be really welcoming. Now, I think we need to be really welcoming, but I just think that,
There's not a lot of content there.
yeah, hospitality talk can become cheap and saccharine really fast.
Yeah.
And this running hospitality through the incarnation, death, and resurrection of Christ, I think maybe changes some things. And I would bet that Benedict had a sense of that. But the way we talk about it is just like, well, you should be really welcoming. And I'm struck now that I'm talking.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say, treat all guests like Christ would treat them, which would be the sort of like, welcome, come to the party
as you would want to be treated.
Right. He says, treat him as Christ, which I think the longer you think about it is like incredibly complicated and difficult because we just crucified that guy.
Yeah. And then on another front, I think we're acutely aware on a daily basis of how much unlike the people around us are, how unlike Christ they are, especially the cranky among us.
Yeah. I mean, not you and me. We are like pretty much on point.
Yeah.
But everybody else,
I think that's
like everybody else.
That's the reviews I'm getting. Yeah.
Really struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is probably just a random firing of a tired librarian brain, but I often think about the hospitality that we provide to Christ in the Mass in terms of our liturgical participation and bodily participation in the Mass. Because I was very briefly an intern director of liturgy somewhere, and so I know all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting to see how people apply those rules in different circumstances according to their understanding. For instance, we had no kneelers because we were in a Protestant context and kneeling's not super a thing. And so I knew that basically the rubrics, and depending on your local bishop, they'll basically what you're encouraged to do in the rubrics is for everyone to be doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's more important for us to be united in action than to be right about kneeling on cement.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, is it important for some people to kneel on that cement to show everyone else what the right thing they should be doing is. And me in another way doing the same thing, being like, did you read the rubrics? So I think about it a lot because it happens all the time. That a better model would be the reason we do any of the posturing that we do in the Mass is as an analogy to having Christ in the room.
Mm.
If Christ was, think about Christ as a dignitary or as a God. If somebody extremely important comes in the room, you stand up,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't just like remain like, seated, like laid back, seated and just like, oh yeah, cool.
Right.
Hey, what's up, Mr. President? Come on in. Yeah, come on in. No, you stand up, and like if it's like a king and it's a former time, sometimes you kneel and sometimes you bow and you don't make eye contact.
Right.
and,
Right.
Different things like that. And so, it also reminds me of like when people choose to sit down after the Eucharist is put away into the tabernacle,
Mm-hmm.
and what they've gathered through experience about that.
Mm-hmm.
But if Christ is present there, then the hospitality that we provide Christ is in some ways our bodily action. And I think we could all do to be reminded that it's a very close analogy to what we would do to a real person.
Mm.
So honoring people bodily, and I don't know exactly what that means next, but if we would go a long way thinking about it that way,
We should start bowing to each other.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah.
I do a lot, as you know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I've got a lot of Renaissance in me,
Yeah. That's what I've heard about you.
I've done enough Shakespeare plays that I just kind of ekes out sometimes
Uh-huh.
that I do a curtsy and a bow and a flourish of an imaginary cape.
So okay, we got two trains of thought going here.
Yeah, well, welcome to my life. It'll be 4 or 5 by the time.
Yeah. No, I love this. I love this. To welcome Christ might be to welcome the person who sees you very clearly and you don't want to be around them. You want to eliminate them. And to welcome Christ is going to involve your whole self. And you reflect that in your bodily actions, and the welcoming Christ. If Christ is in everybody, then those bodily actions might have something to do with other people's bodies and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure at this point how to draw those two strains together. So if you want to get a third one up and running, we can do that. I have no idea.
Well, I think about also this is going to be a running thing. What am I? If not a Bible guy.
Hey, ball.
There's some standards in Old Testament law that seem like maybe they were never actually put into practice. Like setting all the slaves free every 7 years
Sure.
is like beautiful, wonderful. We have little evidence of that.
Yeah.
Seems to have occurred.
The Jubilee year too, right?
Yes. Yeah. But it seems, at least narratively, like they did have some pretty high standards for hospitality in terms of like somebody shows up and they need a place.
Mm-hmm.
They're staying at your place,
Mm-hmm.
and you are eating with them at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And this has all kinds of, it's one of the more basic like daily life in Old and New Testament things that we talk about, because who you choose to eat with and who you choose to let enter into your home is of constant it's a preoccupation of the law. It's a preoccupation of the narratives in the Torah. It's a preoccupation of prophets. It's a preoccupation of Jesus and the disciples, and who Jesus decides to sit, where Jesus decides to stay, where Jesus decides to eat.
His
And with
practice
whom?
of hospitality is one of the things that gets him killed.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And he's really fiddling with purity, sense of decorum and purity and boundary lines and stuff. So
it seems like some of what Jesus is saying there is not just about hospitality, but about rethinking holiness and rethinking how the theology of place works a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it, because it's absolutely, in the same way that, like, Kierkegaard in Fear and Trembling says, like, so what are we supposed to do with this Akedah passage, this sacrifice? Are you going to go sacrifice your child? Like,
Hard pass.
Hard pass. I don't think I know anyone who, if a stranger showed up on their door and was like, I don't have anywhere to stay, that they would just uncomplicatedly be like, come right in, here's dinner, here's a bed.
Right.
Because we are like, we're afraid.
Yeah.
And I do also wonder about the context too. Like, I think we think generally the world outside our home is safer than they thought. Like part of that hospitality practice was, in all likelihood, if you were left outside, you would be murdered, or at least stolen from. And we see that in places all over Scripture. And so the hospitality aspect of it is like to save them,
Protection.
But sometimes I wonder if we're like, ooh, let's maybe, why don't you wait out here and we'll call some people.
Yeah, right.
See if we can get you into the appropriate shelter, which doesn't seem to be part of the thought world of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's obviously also what comes up for me, is that we're not reaching the bare minimum standard of Jewish law, at least in its most ideal form.
Right. So I like thinking about all of this hospitality, universe, purity, and then like the character of a university, the mission of a university.
We could get back to the purity too.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Ooh.
this is just an interesting conversation for Catholic universities, I think. Like pure communities. There's of course a whole spectrum of Catholic universities.
And there's purity culture on both of the two American sides. Anyway.
Right. And so I guess if anyone's wondering what we're talking about, I just think there are conservative Catholic universities that they put a premium on maintaining the purity of the student body. Like it needs to be like overwhelmingly majority Catholic, and the students who are there need to be devout Catholics in order for the university to do what the university is supposed to do. And then on the left, there's a premium, something like the purity of like progressive, I guess. I don't know, like views.
American progressive,
right?
Yeah.
Everyone who's there ought to be one more piece of evidence that this is a place of diversity and inclusion. So,
and questioning of that is not broached. And then
then you get a place like Mount Marty, which is not a progressive place and is not a conservative place. And I think for a long time when I came here, I thought, I'm still working this out, but I thought maybe the place is confused. But the longer we talk, even just in this episode, but the longer I'm here, I think, well, maybe we're not confused at all. Maybe this is just like an odd feature of being a Benedictine institution, that no one can quite look at you and call you a purely conservative or a purely progressive institution. You have like this weird motley, dappled.
I think that's tough to hold to if you actually look at Benedictine universities, because we can immediately think of Benedictine universities that occupy those other places. And I think it also contributes that we're on the plains. So, and our particular student body is, I don't know if I'd say apolitical, but just not terribly interested in
True enough.
Politics. They're sort of vaguely, what did Kenda Creasy Dean call the emerging adults? Like spiritual, oh man, what did she say?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll look it up. But how would you describe the apolitical nature of there's no one forcing the issue as part of it.
Right.
For sure.
A lot of, not all of our students, but a lot of them are like fairly politically naive. I don't think most of them don't think politics is like pointless or irrelevant, but I don't think they really know how to navigate political conversations, and I don't know if they've been alive enough and had enough like kind of adult experience to understand just how implicated their lives are in. They're not walking around saying this doesn't matter. They're walking around not thinking about it.
Yeah. Moral therapeutic deism is what I think she described the young Christians. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, you may be right. It's maybe not a Benedictine thing, or maybe we have a Benedictine way of navigating.
I think that's
type
what it
of
is. Yeah. Context
that we're in, where we serve a body of students who's not really interested in. Is the phrase virtue signaling? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Or like virtue signaling either on the right or the left?
Yeah.
Like I'm this kind of. They're just like, I got practice, man, and then I got to lift, and then I got to write this paper. And that's understandable.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure they'll grow up to be adults like that too.
Yeah, who knows?
Not that they're not, adults now, but I mean, like I'm sure that they will maintain that many of them.
Yeah, totally possible, I guess. I have no idea. If I look back on who I was from 18 to 22, there are vestiges of that person left, but I mean, a lot has changed, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, who knows what goes on? Who knows what goes on with someone's journey, someone's trajectory?
Yeah, but I do think that there is a history too of, like, let's be honest, the sisters being viewed as quote unquote liberal, which is,
the longer I'm here, that seems pretty silly to me, but
it does. And I think that the Diocese of Sioux Falls is then the oppositional conservative or whatever. Both of those things are too simplistic.
I think that's right. It's too cut and dry.
And
it's an easy way to tell a story. Right?
Yeah.
You've got a conservative side and then a liberal side. But I just, the longer we're here, I think this goes for both of us probably. The longer we're here, the more complex that story is. There's a lot of light and there's a lot of shadow, and it's not about liberal conservative all the time.
I think we'd say it's probably about other things, and it's just easier to narrate the story.
Yes. I like to think about it that way. That's good.
I think that the one consistent thing that the sisters have done is to always remind us of these values rather than politicizing things. So when there's been attempts to like culture war, it's been like, no, I think just everyone's welcome here.
Yeah. How would we culture war and maintain these?
Yeah.
How would we do that? You got an idea? Oh, you don't? Okay. Well, then maybe we should adjust our perspective on the culture war according to our principles rather than the other way around.
Yeah, I think that's been my experience more.
For me too. I don't think I could see that when I would say I was a more ideological thinker when I arrived here. And like any community, this community has like polished off some of the rough spots in my intellectual and spiritual life,
I think a lot of us have that experience. I know Joe Rutten describes his experience that way too.
Like for sure.
Thinking about it a certain way before he got here, and then it revealed itself as a different animal.
So this is an interesting aspect of Benedictine hospitality also, is that the Benedictines, it's we're directed by Benedict to pay attention to visitors and the perspective of new monks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do they see when they arrive? I think this is an interesting practice. You may know this. I think I may have done this with you when you would visit our family in Dayton.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when we would have a family friend come and stay with us, and the kids would be in bed and we'd be up at night, and I would ask, "Hey, what do you notice about like the way we're parenting our kids? You got any notes for me?" I've done that a couple times, but even before encountering the rule, and I would
I would call that a custom of yours.
I think that's a healthy practice, but that is complicated by the fact that if the visitor or the new monk then becomes a part of the community, the freshness and the Oh, I almost said alterity. That's like English.
There was a time.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
That's. Is it on the band? Yeah, I think it's on the band.
That's going to be tough with some of our guests, I'm sure. Because we're all that. I think we got alterity from literary theory, didn't we?
Oh, we most certainly did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We sure did.
One of the most
otherness,
one of the most
post-colonial
words in 2004 criminals.
Oh, we were like, wow, that is a very fancy way of saying other.
Yeah. The outsider's perspective, the new perspective, the fresh perspective of like, yeah, what becomes of it when the outsider or the new person becomes a member of the community? I wonder about that in terms of my own story. I had all sorts of stuff to say when I got here. And here's Benedict saying, listen to the new person. But looking back, some of the stuff that I had to say was just dead wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. I just think.
And at the same time, I'm sure, I know that you felt this way too. And I'm sure this isn't everyone's experience, but my experience here was as a person that is new and who is listened to.
Yeah. I was given space to voice my opinions and people took them seriously. I mean, I've been in fights with sisters in committee meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not believe how they handled my critical, negative kind of approach. It was so peaceful and gentle, and they just like absorbed it and let it, and it didn't disappear. I think some things happened because of some of those fights, but it also like was just absorbed, and it was like diffused.
Yeah,
not diffused. Like its power was taken away a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And the relationship was primary and the disagreement was secondary, and it wasn't a lot. They had the just like the culture war thing, they had the priority correct.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe a lesson we could draw from that is that hospitality needs to leave room for conflict.
Oh, most definitely.
And I think that's important to say because I know that we've experienced around here too an extreme, compared to other contexts that I've been in, conflict avoidance stance from a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, is hard for me because I'm, you know, conflict forward. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm conflict forward. Yeah, because I just want to let's talk about it. Like, there's no sense
out there and
in
do it.
Yeah,
let's go.
But I mean, I think some people's coping mechanism for conflict and or difference makes me really uncomfortable is to say, no, we have to back way off and say, everyone is the same. All things are equal. And I think that just leads us right back to where we started this conversation with bland welcoming of people that actually has no expectation and therefore no way of determining success.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. There's nothing to measure.
There's nothing to measure because there's nothing to do except for to avoid conflict.
Yeah. So we both have spent plenty of time. You've spent way more time on the plains than I have.
Yeah.
Some of this is
plains people stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Just regional.
Yeah. Baltimore, people just scream at you for existing.
Right.
And I did get a little used to that.
But out here, conflict avoidance is like a way of life.
It is, and it is strong. It is vehement.
Yeah.
The only thing worth having a conflict about is avoiding conflict.
That's right. We're not doing this fight. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I've got plains people parents. So there weren't, open rebellion is shut down very quickly and then never spoken of again.
Yeah. I grew up not with plains parents. but with conflict avoidant parents, for sure. My dad was abused as a kid, and so he learned very quickly, we're not going to raise our voices. We're not going to make waves. We're not going to make trouble. We will figure out how to deal with this in some other way, but we're not going to have a fight. And the trauma of his upbringing, I think, was a big part of why our house was as peaceful as it was. But that was a beautiful thing, right? I'm really glad that I lived in a peaceful home, of course. But I didn't get a lot of practice with the essential, like, act of conflicting with someone, disagreeing with someone, preserving a relationship, but figuring out how to navigate conflict. Marriage has been really good for me in that way. Hannah and I have a peaceful relationship, but we know how to disagree with each other. We've learned it.
Yeah.
She grew up in a house with a ton of conflict. It was just out in the open. It was not great.
Mm-hmm.
So we've kind of we've
met in the middle.
We've met in the middle, and I've learned a little bit. But I think my time at Mount Marty has really even enhanced more my ability to peacefully disagree, not run away from conflict, but figure out how to do conflict well. And I would say that's been one of the gifts of the community's hospitality to me, welcoming me into those practices.
Yeah. So then, based on what we're talking about, if hospitality does not look like ignoring difference and staying quiet and being blandly happy, what does it look like? I think it looks like holding space for others in your community, maybe particularly when it's hard, when there's conflict, and to not just respond by expelling them and avoiding, but to hold them in close and do the hard work that it takes to maintain community because another way to think about it, I guess, is just that hospitality is having community with the other.
Yeah.
With the non-community, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I think this is an important distinction to make. Why do we have community and hospitality? In one way of thinking about hospitality, those become redundant.
Right.
In another way, they're profoundly different, and hospitality has to do with otherness, outsiderness, not alterity. I mean, we're not going to use that word. This is the last time I say it, but I think that's got to be right. So I think it could. One thing we might want to add then is that hospitality has to do with hope, that you recognize that someone is coming into your community, that they perhaps will not fit smoothly and easily into your community, and yet you proceed with the hope that you are both capable of doing the work so that they can eventually become an integrated, comfortable friend.
Maybe like iron.
Sharpening iron. Yeah.
Well,
so
that's, and I think that's actually somewhat radical to say in our current context, when, again, the instinct is if we're a conservative place and you're not conservative, then we have to get you out of here quick.
Yeah.
Before your sickness spreads.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If you are extremely conservative and you come into a liberal place, then you must be expelled before your sickness. It is treated sort of like a sickness.
Yeah.
That, again, you'll infect people. It's truly, just your presence and difference through conflict, through being in a place, it would spread like a malignant tumor, like a cancer. And maybe I think that the hope that we hold out is that being a place that holds room for, in this particular American context, as much as it's eye-rolling to say, both liberals and conservatives, and holding room for there to be conflict and for us to smooth each other's edges out,
Mhm.
and to have fights and to come back together and to actually experience a love that's hard and not just cliched and easy.
Right. So it's
like
not
a-
lost on me that you've gone to like we had purity language earlier. Now we've got germ and sickness language, and we're talking about hospitality. And so
Yeah.
a community can be a hospital
Yeah.
for like treating difference, I guess,
Mhm.
treating separation, like figuring out ways to heal divisions and the wounds caused by divisions
Mm-hmm.
without pretending that everything is fine, or without pretending that everybody's the same, or without ignoring problems or whatever. But and then also just I like this like germ or sickness or illness thing too, because like at a hospital you need to be cared for as the person you are. Like you come in with your particular symptoms, you come in with your particular struggles, and I have to bring the resources of this community to bear for you in order for you to be whole, but also switching, I guess, from hospital for the community to be whole.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're learning things. We always learn things.
Truly.
on
Well, I
this
think
podcast.
that's a good first milepost on the way to understanding hospitality better. Maybe we stop there, and then we pick it back up when we have our first guest that
Sure.
is focused in the hospitality realm.
Absolutely. So, have you consumed some media that's worth talking about? I bet you have.
Yeah, I sure have. I'm trying to pick at this point. I'm actually introducing our friend Rita to the works of Margaret Atwood, because I love the way that her narrators turn ideas over and over in their head, and it's something that's just very appealing to me. So we're reading and watching Alias Grace right now, which is about a young woman who had a very tough early life, Irish immigrant to Canada, and it's a murder mystery. But here's the twist. We already know that Grace committed the murder. The murder mystery is her and her psychologist figuring out how she could have committed this murder without remembering it or knowing it, or without seemingly any motivation to do so. And it's at the sort of the dawn of psychology, and so they're exploring her mind, and she's exploring her mind. But there's just wonderful metaphors around like a lot of 19th century domesticity. Like there's a whole strain of metaphors that Grace goes over in her head about quilts, like quilts as flags, quilts as a warning over the bed, quilts as a story, as a narrative. Just wonderful. And it reminded me how wonderful that book is.
Margaret Atwood is a beast.
Truly.
Incredible.
Truly. She can write poetry too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Canada, bro. Telling you.
That's yeah. What are you telling me?
There's just a lot going on up there.
There's just a lot.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah.
But there is.
I know.
Yeah. Wild place.
What about you?
Well, as we were talking about hospitality, I thought of one of my favorite films I've ever seen, Ushpizin. Have you seen
Yeah,
Ushpizin?
I love that.
That movie's so good, and it's a great movie about hospitality.
Yeah. It
So
taught me a lot about the varieties of lemon / lime / citron.
Citron.
And about Sukkot. Yeah. And which I think is one of the lesser known Jewish holidays amongst Christians. Especially
Festival of booths. Right.
booths, indeed. Yeah.
You build a little
Little
kind of makeshift hut,
yeah, without a roof.
and you spend some time in it to commemorate their wandering in the desert between slavery and occupation of the Promised Land. Right.
Just remember, It was like this once.
So
It seems to be saying
it's this like glorious film set in contemporary
Israel.
Israel,
Mhm.
probably in Jerusalem, I would say.
I think so, yeah.
And it's been a little while since I've seen it. It's a 2004 film, so it's got some age on it.
Mhm.
But it's about an Orthodox couple who have no children. And if I'm remembering right, the husband had a former life,
Mhm.
maybe involved in crime, and he had some sort of conversion in his life and became, I don't know if he's Hasidic. I'm not
I
sure.
can't remember,
But-
I watched it like when it came out.
Yeah.
So it's been like a good 20 years.
So he's had this major conversion. Speaking of like progressive and liberal, or just people becoming
Yeah.
like progressive and liberal and then conservative or whatever, this guy used to be like a criminal and just out in the world, and then he becomes this incredibly conservative Orthodox Jewish man.
Mm-hmm.
And he and his wife, without any children, are going to celebrate the Festival of Booths. And if someone shows up for Sukkot
Mm-hmm.
and needs hospitality, you give that to them.
Yep.
And people from his former life, before he converted, show up and
Conflict.
lead. Yeah. And they welcome. It's a really gorgeous film.
Truly. Yeah.
Good hospitality film.
I
They
think,
should probably teach that film.
yeah. Honestly, it is so old that I checked it out from Blockbuster on DVD.
Oh.
Back when, don't know if anybody remembers this, but they used to have a deal where you could just always have a DVD out. This is right before Netflix really hit hard. And yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think I checked it out on my always having one DVD out membership at Blockbuster.
I was walking around in a small town in New England last weekend.
Is this at
And
home?
there was-
or-
There was a movie gallery. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
It had nothing in it, but the sign was still up. How long?
Hadn't been converted into a vape shop yet.
Get on it, guys. Get on it.
No, my Blockbuster in my town is now a like off-brand Petco pet store.
Oh,
Yeah.
off-brand.
Maybe it's a brand. I've never heard of it. I don't know. Well, it's in a Blockbuster, so it can't be that big. It's not like the Walmart of pet stores, like Petco is. The real standard
I got you.
for pet stores.
So maybe kind of a more like artisanal approach. It's like a local, just kind of a...
I don't know. Sorry to whatever that place is. Yeah. Well,
It's really good to see you.
good to see you too. Have a good and talk to you. And we'll talk to you. But
And some thinking and acting.
thinking.
Do
You better think. You'd better think.
ideas and doing stuff.
That's what we do here
Yeah.
in our house,
Yeah. Thinking.
which we invite others into hospitably.
I would say that was the best sign off we've had in a while. Mitch?
Oh yeah, Mitch.
Mitch isn't even here.
He's giving us a thumb sideways, which I think's a good sign for Mitch.
You're back. You're back.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
The Benedictine Thought and Action podcast is produced by Jorn Bordley and Jerson Herson, with a huge assist from Avery Algorithm, who optimizes our workflow for maximum slay. You're doodled by John's golden editor, Louis Louis, who just can't help himself. All opinions are derived from Jason's cat, Gigi, who lives with cerebellar hypoplasia, yet still manages to bring the funk. The show is engineered by Frank Lloyd Wright, which explains the warm amber lighting. He wrote this music. Get used to it. Our patron saint is Blessed Columba Marmion, who tried to warn us about recording in mono. But we don't listen. And the voice you're hearing is an AI bleep bloop that John and Jason bought from a guy in Florida. If you think it sounds like Richard Loftus's voice, you're not wrong.